What's up, guys, and welcome to the heroic Shadopan Monastery healing guide. This is the bane of a healer's existence if you have pugs or bads in your group. The first boss starts out pretty simple. All you're really doing is you're staying spread out about 5 yards apart, and then if you see him do like a shot ability, all you do is you just make sure you're 10 yards away from it, and it's GG, you don't take any damage. The problem is what DPS do during this fight is they tunnel vision on the boss, and then they tunnel vision on the serpent, and they don't do anything else. Okay, in the second phase, where the dragon comes up, as you can see right now, what you're supposed to do is when you get this magnetic shroud, right, you're supposed to all stack up, because when you heal through it, if you heal 50,000 heals through it, it will spread 50,000 heals to other players and break their bubbles too. So the trick is, as soon as that bubble comes up, target one person and spam them. Don't AoE heal everybody yet. Spam just that one target till you get those bubbles off, and then go ahead and AoE. Just remember, because it'll absorb 50,000 healing. So what's the point in wasting all those hots if you're not getting the shield off first? The second ability that the dragon has is the big flame breath. And again, it doesn't really matter what you do. He's going to spray it at a cone. It's kind of just the only thing you have to heal through in the fight. The rest of the damage in this fight is almost pretty much avoidable, which is amazing because no one ever avoids any of it. At one point, I actually had to record this one about 3 times because people just they just didn't understand. And this is actually the best one I got. And as you'll see, there are still times when people had no idea what they were doing. We're just straight tunneling the boss, and the problem is now is we're actually starting to outgear the content already for the heroics, which is fine because it just makes it a little bit easier to pug. Okay, the second boss is actually really cool. After you go through the gauntlet, you go fight the master. The master is upstairs. It's a pretty simple fight though. He will eventually break into 3 pieces, and you kind of kill his I don't know what you would call them, his mirror images, so to speak. And then he'll reappear and you start nuking him. Obviously he'll do this blade storm ability that he's doing right here. And that's pretty much the main thing that you have to worry about, is just stay away from him. If you see him do the big swirly, stay away from him. The other thing that you have to make sure you do is during this phase he'll cast these white tornadoes. You can see right here, if you get hit by them, it does do about 1/4 of your health as damage. So obviously, if you're getting hit by those multiple times, it's very bad for the healer. But in heroic mode, not deadly. I did another one just to show you the exact damage that it's doing without cooldowns, without anything like that. Again, if you're a Death Knight, if you can do anything to AMZ or even pop a Barkskin or anything to reduce this damage that's coming out to you, probably is a good phase to pop those in. But as you can see, the damage itself in the entire fight doesn't really come out that hard. Just remember the fact that after this, there is a gauntlet right before this where you have to kill quite a few people. So make sure that you try to conserve your mana as best you can, especially if you're in a pug and the tank runs straight in and taunts. Just make sure that you guys are good to go mana-wise, so try to be conservative in that phase. Save a couple cooldowns for this fight. Like I said, just in case it gets a little hairy. Again, 95% of this boss's damage is also avoidable, but 95% of pugs don't avoid damage. That's kind of how I like to look at it. It doesn't really help you. This boss in particular, if you do not have DPS who understand how the mechanics of this fight work, I don't care how geared you are. I'm in 466 gear, fully gemmed, enchanted, and optimized right now, and I'm having a hell of a time keeping these guys up. Why? Because all they're doing is literally tunneling into the boss. The problem in this fight is there's a ton of abilities that the boss does. Like, he's got this AoE right there. He also targets a friendly player, and if you don't do enough damage to him, like, he'll just start beating on the other guys. So what you need to do is just make sure as soon as you see that ability going off that you just AoE to get that guy out of the damage. You can do it really quick if everybody AoEs. If nobody AoEs, you have one guy mind control beating on your other guys, and it's not good. The other thing he does in this fight is he casts ads around the room. It doesn't really matter. Again, guys, this is what's going to happen. Is if you have a good tank who's aware and knows what he's doing, you're not going to have to worry about this. It's really simple. He'll just taunt him over, pick him up, no big deal. If you have a tank like we had in this one, where he's literally just tunneling into the boss, get ready to kite ads. Again, this is a nice fight for Ursol's Vortex. Make sure that you have cooldowns ready to go for this fight, because you will use them. As you can see, just the ridiculous numbers that I have to put up here just to keep people alive. And the only reason I have to keep them alive like that is because they're just standing in avoidable damage, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not tanking the ads. But literally you can heal through it. So at least on heroic mode, obviously not challenge mode. But keep that in mind, guys, that the third boss is pretty much your main idea. It's just going to be to heal through your damage as best you can, try to mitigate as best you can. You try to do the mechanics right so that other people figure them out and so that you can stay alive longer. This last fight, I did a lot of testing on this fight to get the one that I wanted to show. I wanted to show one with heavy damage because that was kind of what I ran into a lot. I also wanted to show you what happens if you don't push your extra action button. What happens here is he fills you with hatred. That's that bar up top. And if you don't meditate, your hatred will turn your entire screen red. You'll be stunned. You won't be able to cast for a little bit. And that's the main thing. The biggest thing for healers to watch out for is he's going to summon these 3 orbs of hatred. And the DPS need to literally switch targets and burn these things down as fast as you can. That was the ability I was telling you about. But you really need to do that, okay? What's happening is if you don't, like, you're filling your hatred bar up really, really quick because you're standing in the purple goo, then what you're doing is you're not able to meditate while in that purple goo, so you have to run out, pray that you're healing enough, and then meditate for a couple seconds where you can't cast anything to get your stacks off, and then you're going back to heal. Like, this is a healer's worst nightmare fight because as soon as those come out, you can't channel like a trank, and that's that ability one more time, just so you guys can see it. But you can't channel a trank, okay, during that phase because as soon as they pull you in, you're done. The boss during this phase where he's spinning the purple goo, you kite the boss because he's immune to attacks, and all he does is just beat the hell out of people, and he fills their hatred bars. You can see the tanks just randomly kiting him into the rest of the raid. And this is the kind of stuff that you're going to run into, guys. And that's why I kind of wanted to record the footage this way, is so that you could literally see just some of the stuff that you're going to have to deal with as a pug healer on this fight. Don't try to type during this fight. Like, if you wipe, and then explain it after. Don't try to do it in the middle because you'll never do it. But thanks for watching the video, guys. Like and subscribe. Have fun in the Shadopan Monastery.